Hello everyone, my name is Sam, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a double and also a fatty or a triple. So this is an example of a double. You can see that it has 2 rows stacked on top of each other, and then this is an example of a fatty or a triple, whatever you want to call it, and it has 3 rows all stacked on top of each other. Now you can keep going with fatties. You can do 4 or 5 or 6 rows, whatever you want. I kind of stick with 3 because the more rows you add, the smaller the single will start to become. But you kind of make them similar ways. I started off with a single of 6 beads, then my center bead, which for this tutorial I'm using little skulls. And I did that till I had about 31 beads around. You can play with how big you want them and how many beads you want in the center. Doesn't really matter. You can have as little as 2 beads or as many beads as you realistically want. So once you have your single, you're going to want to make sure your string is coming through one of your center beads. So for me, that's going to be a skull. And you're going to start on the second row, which just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to use different colors. So since I have 6 beads in my middle, I'm going to string on 6 more beads. If you had 2, you'd string on 2. If you had 3, you'd string on 3. Whatever amount you had in between your skull beads or your specialty beads is what you're going to be stringing on. So make sure you have 6 beads. And to create a double, you're going to string through to the very next specialty bead or middle bead. So you're completely skipping all 6 beads of these and stringing in through that next skull bead. When you pull tight, it's going to stack right on top of the other row, just like this. So again, the next row, you're going to add on 6 beads. My string's coming through this skull bead. I'm just going to skip all the way over to this skull bead. Sorry, just my string got caught on my tripod here. And then it's going to start to kind of stack on top of each other. So you do that all the way around the cuff. And once you reach the beginning stage, the very first bead, I'll show you what to do at that point. And if you wanted to, you could stop there and tie it off and you'd have yourself a double. Doubles are really versatile because you can really play with the length and how many beads in your center you'd like. So they're kind of fun to play around with. I do encourage that if you have a needle that you use that, since you're stringing through your skull beads every time. Okay, I'm on my last row, so yet again we're doing 6 beads. And stringing in through that first skull bead that we went through. Like I said, at this point, you could tie it off and have yourself a double. See, it mirrors this example. But I'm going to show you how to turn this into a fatty. So the next step you would take is to take 6 more beads of whatever color you want. I'm going to choose this white one just for tutorial purposes. Add on 6 beads. And yet again, you're going to be going in just through the skull bead. So my string's coming through this skull bead, skipping all the way over to the next skull bead. And this is what's going to make it into a fatty or a triple. I call them fatties. See, it kind of starts to line up like that. I think I made a mistake, actually. Yes, I did. I went the wrong direction. My bad. Like that, sorry. See how it becomes like a big fatty? Now you do the same thing throughout the rest of the cuff. So you add 6 more of these. my string's coming through this skull bead, skipping over to this skull bead. And then you can see how as you tighten it, it starts to make the cuff a little bit smaller. So I would suggest for your starting single to make it a little bit bigger than your average single would be, because you're adding rows on top of it and essentially making it more tight as you go. I miscounted beads. Yeah, I need one more. Okay, so just do that for the rest of the cuff. Oh, sorry. And then I'll show you how to tie it off at the end as well. On my last row. I'm just going to cut my string a little bit shorter so that I don't have such a long piece to work with. But this is what it's going to look like at the end, and how I personally tie these off is I kind of pull it apart like this, and I take this small tail and I kind of cross it underneath all those strings there, because then you're going to be left with a loop and a tail. You're going to take the small little tail, pull it through the loop. And I personally would do that 3 times, so let me show you one more time. Just kind of pull it underneath all those strings, loop in a tail, pull the tail through the loop. Okay, one more time. And then you can cut off your excess. And you have yourself a fatty. So if you have any questions on this tutorial, please do not hesitate to ask, and I will see you guys next time for another video.